Hi there, and welcome to the Debrief for Discussion Board 11, which talks about Google hacking Google, but it's much more than that. Let me start by saying my paranoid cybersecurity opinion is that there are two types of companies in the world. Those that have been breached, a small percentage of which report. If they don't have to report, like banks, financial corporations, other public entities, they may decide not to report. Especially since small and medium-sized companies, the backbone of our GDP, may not ever recover from their very first cyber attack. Then there are the companies who think they haven't been breached. They simply don't know. I like this quote here. Rarely is anyone thanked for the work they did to prevent the disaster that didn't happen. Nobody knows who you are until something bad happens. And of course, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they aren't after you. That's from Catch 22 by Joseph Heller, but it applies in cybersecurity as well. The leaderboard. First up, we have Alex Husseini helping discuss with 2 responses instead of 1. Then Danny Lastra, who made compelling arguments about the need to balance transparency to the public with security of the organization and the greater global community we're all a part of as well. Marissa suggested mixing integrity with transparency and try being honest with customers. Honesty? What in the world are you thinking, Marissa? That's sarcasm, of course. Adam Bug Hunter Berkey pointed out how when infection of anyone may have national security implications. I actually wrote a paper about that and agree wholeheartedly. In fact, the paper looked at the weakest link in the emergency alert systems. We suggested coordinated vulnerability disclosure policies and allowing reporting of vulnerabilities with no legal retributions. You can see the name of the paper. How often do you notice academic papers that include zombies and Lady Gaga in their titles? Moving on, Toby Ogunlala noted that even Google gets hacked. Project Aurora was a sustained attack by the Chinese as Google was trying to stay in the game in China, censoring sensitive searches following Chinese government demands. After Aurora, they moved to Hong Kong and opened up the search just like it is in the U.S. Gavin Global Pierre noted the importance of finding and tracking down bad actors no matter where they are. The U.S. FBI, as you probably know, never stops looking for someone on their list. We need to show the same vigilance for bad cyber actors. Dawn Report Row advised reporting the bug, not selling it. If you report it, you are much less likely to get chased by the FBI and or get prosecuted. If you sell it, and you know or should have known it is someone else's property, then they will try to find and arrest you. Waddy wants bounty. Waga, I don't blame you. See Don's prior comment. Jamal Wondering Walker asked if you'd ever tried to hack anything and how it went. I advise not answering that question on the discussion board. You may talk to Jamal privately if you like about a friend who may have innocently hacked something. Since hacking is illegal in most cases, keep it to yourself. Justin Westmoreland noted how the whole company can come tumbling down when one internal employee accidentally opens one file. That's how vigilant cybersecurity professionals have to be. Chasing company defenses, Zhang notes that the more you practice for disaster, the better you get it. Yolanda says yes to bounties, but wait, because Yolanda also said yes to 2 responses. Thanks for the extra effort. Now you have the entire 3,100 student leaderboard for discussion board 11. Almost. It's a good one. What videos did you watch? Let's see. Red Team was first, followed right behind by Operation Aurora and Bug Hunters. I recommend you go back and watch the ones you missed. They're all good. They're all short. Let's take a look at Google and Operation Aurora. Backstory on Google and Operation Aurora. Google wanted the 1 billion plus market so bad in China, they tried to work with the government and censored searches. China then hacked into Google servers and obtained Gmail addresses and other information about Chinese dissidents and human rights activists. Well, Google told on them. They informed the public and moved to Hong Kong, vowing to follow their motto of "Don't be evil" in future endeavors. Backstory: Alphabet hated that motto. They changed it to "Do the right thing," but kept the "Don't be evil" motto in some of the guidelines, and Google still uses it. It was a big deal to the founders. In spite of doing good and not being evil, Google thought about going back to China again in 2018. Remember, over 1 billion people there live in China. This time Google was going to censor search results just like last time, and they kept it secret, even from most employees. Well, it got out and C-level execs quit. There were employee protests and it was a mess. Mike Pence, U.S. Vice President at the time, personally called and asked Google to stop its plans for expansion to China again. They ultimately backed out. They did the right thing. They weren't evil in this case. Google decided to set up an internal red team. I'm sure they have external people that also try to breach their systems. It's a smart thing to do. The red team has permission to try to infiltrate Google systems. They are highly trained cybersecurity professionals. Google's own cybersecurity engineers have to try to keep the red team out and all the others. They don't know who might be internal or external groups, really doesn't matter. The red team identifies vulnerabilities. Once identified and perhaps used in a cyber attack, the red team may help solve the cybersecurity professionals' problem or help them resolve the issue. A brief message about this globe you see down here, right? This pretty little USB-powered globe. Someone from the red team gave it to someone internal at Google. It was really pretty, right? A USB-powered plasma globe. Once it was plugged in, it automatically deleted files on any servers nearby. But the globe did look nice. After Google's experience, they set up a nice way to respond, or rather be proactive in responding to potential threats. Number one is they don't just look at threats that are specifically targeted at them. Due to the ubiquity of systems and the interconnectedness of the world, Google understands that cyber attacks can go global quickly if they're not handled. Google doesn't simply respond to threats, instead it prepares for them, tests systems before an attack, and plans extensively for potential breaches before they occur. As one of your classmates noted, And I lost the name when I copied over it. If you'd like to receive credit for the quotes, please drop me an email and I'll add your name. They actively hunt down using a combination of intelligence, technology, and collaboration with other security teams. Google takes this very seriously, and Google is good at this. Further, the same classmate said, the episode emphasized the human side of cybersecurity, how analysts constantly assess risk, share findings, and issue warnings to prevent harm. Think of how connected we are to Google. I have a Gmail account, use Google Search constantly, use Google Scholar to search for academic papers, etc. Sharing information is something that is good for everyone. Hackers, my faves. And these definitions come from Microsoft's Copilot AI. I wanted to see how good they are. They're pretty good, similar to Wikipedia's. We start with a straight definition of hackers. A hacker is someone who explores, manipulates, or exploits computer systems and network. The only thing missing here is important. They do this without permission. A hacker is considered a criminal. Hackers are generally thought to be the criminal side of things, while vulnerability and cybersecurity researchers are the other end of the spectrum. With hacking, context matters. Why did you go into their network? What were your intentions? Laws matter. Did you break any laws like DMCA or others? If you accessed their network without permission, why did you do that? And jurisdiction matters too. In the U.S., almost all hacking instances are federal laws, but occasionally the states will get brought in. Many other countries have similar laws and agreements with the U.S. to extradite suspected cyber criminals once charges are filed based on evidence gathered. A side note here, you've already figured this out, I don't like using hackers in any way that indicates they are good. Ethical hacking sounds like you have ethics and you criminally visit someone else's network without their permission. If you tell them the vulnerability and genuinely try to help in a coordinated manner, you are a vulnerability researcher or a cybersecurity professional, but not a hacker. We will still look at how many people denote the different hats worn by people who exploit computer vulnerabilities with or without permission. And there's disagreement in the field over what to call different types of people. Now to the ethical hackers, or white hat hacker. I call this person a cybersecurity researcher or a vulnerability researcher or something to that effect. Ethical hackers or white hat hackers use their skills to strengthen security. They help organizations identify vulnerabilities before malicious attackers exploit them. Should they get paid? Can they change from white to black hat? I suggest getting an agreement with the company prior to looking at their internal systems. White hat hackers may be internal, they may want money or bug bounties, but sometimes they just want to be recognized for finding the vulnerability. It's a matter of pride. Look what I did. Then we have the black hat hackers. I call these people hackers. Malicious hackers or black hat hackers break into systems for personal gain, theft, or disruption. They may spread malware, steal data, or engage in cybercrime. Even if they don't profit from the cyber attack, they can be arrested for going in and looking around. It's like if they came into your house and looked around and touched all your stuff, but didn't take anything. They still entered without permission. Sometimes these hackers turn out to be nation states like North Korea, China, Iran, and Russia. And sometimes they're simply one person or a network of people, like anonymous. It's often very hard to find these people, and they may be in countries with no extradition agreements with the U.S. They may also carry out ransomware attacks, which can be deadly for organizations, as seen in the news on a regular basis. The gray hat hackers are in between black and white hats. They sometimes do a bit too much snooping around, violating laws, and other times they report. Even if they report, if they don't have permission or protection from legal consequences, they may be prosecuted for illegally entering a company's network. So here you see the white, black, and gray hat hackers, who are all forms of hacking and all may cause security breaches. Chasing asked, do you think security breaches strengthen a company's defense systems? I say it depends. For a large company, governmental unit, or agency, they are likely able to recover, although it may take some time. Did the city of Atlanta ever fully recover from the ransomware attack, where they refused to pay the ransom? I don't know. Medium and small companies hit with malware and viruses and ransomware don't have extra capital laying around to help them recover. It depends on many factors. I do believe it helps the ecosystem as a whole, with everyone benefiting if most people share what they learned. We aren't there quite yet because people don't want to share. But hopefully that will change. Thanks for the nice question, Chasing. Thought you knew all the hats, right? There are many more if you look online. There's also the hard hat hacker, who is a white hat hacker, according to this, who specializes in penetration testing. That's the pen testing you've heard of. You'll get to do that in the program too. Just be patient. They pen testing in physical or industrial settings, identifying security vulnerabilities in a real world system. The hands-on nature of the work likens a person to a person with a hard hat, a construction worker. And there are others, but you can look them up online in your ample spare time. So they go black, white, gray, green, blue, red, purple, and hard hat. And there are others out there. Depends, like I said, it depends on who you ask. If you are a hacker or a researcher or online chatting with a friend and you find a vulnerability, you have choices to make. Do you report or not? Well, you might. One way to report is through Coordinated Vulnerability Disclosure, CVD. In the papers we write on the topic, we urge companies to write CVD policies that include what researchers may test, and what they may not, as well as provide legal protections for those who are looking for vulnerabilities, and perhaps cash rewards and or recognition. As many of you mentioned, a 90-day window is generally a fair amount of time in most cases. Reach an agreement, and if they don't have a patch in 90 days, you get to release it to the world. If they do have a patch, you can make a joint announcement, and you may be eligible for a bug bounty and a big party. Who are the people looking through the systems? They are vulnerability researchers who are generally completing legal activities. Or they are hackers who generally don't have permission to be where they are and who are trying to do good. It's a little scary. It's against the law to find vulnerabilities, even if you find it by mistake and leave immediately. Even if they have poor security in a public web-facing login. This actually happened as a story for another day. The study I mentioned before with zombies in the title, my fave, we surveyed about 100 vulnerability researchers. We thought they'd be worried about getting caught and prosecuted by the feds because looking for vulnerabilities is often a crime. They were not. We speculated it might be because they perceived a very low risk of getting caught, kind of like most people perceive the low risk of downloading music files illegally on Napster, or when it was quasi-legal. I don't think it was at all. Quasi-legal. Yeah. Which means not legal at all. Before we go, a few Easter eggs to make you smile. Many of you probably know Easter eggs have another meaning. You found them. Remember these pictures and they will help you on the extra credit assignments I'm about to post. The first 5 people to submit the egg assignments, each one, and get it right will receive 0.1 points on their final average. You may only submit to one of the assignments. They're going to be number of rings on the left hand, color of my nail polish, description of silver shorter necklace, description of longer necklace. You may only submit one of the assignments for extra credit. That means 20 people can earn the extra credit if they would like to do the assignment, or half the class. I'm about to post. Submit to whichever one you want, realizing only the first 5 people will get credit for it. And you don't have to tell anybody you see this. If you don't look at this video, you're probably never going to know about this. Have fun. Summarizing the discussion board, which I really enjoyed and hope you did too. Cybersecurity is hard. The only time people notice you is when an incident occurs. They don't notice the other 10,000 times you protected the company. Zero-day vulnerabilities are particularly difficult to resolve and must be handled quickly and expeditiously. Bug bounties incentivize some researchers and or hackers to disclose vulnerabilities they find. The bounties are often quite low, however. If you take a look, like even at Google's bug bounties, they have to impact a huge number of people before you actually get a large amount. Hackers, those who view systems without permission, are criminals. Organizations must be vigilant every minute of every day. To end, this quote encompasses the information we have discussed. Working in information security is sometimes a bit like playing Tetris. Your successes disappear, but your failures accumulate.